All right, so wanted to do a quick check-in. Wednesday, August 21st, 2019. Follow-up. Last post was on Sunday, um, where we talked about cannabis and some pot stocks and some ideas and strategies there. Hopefully that was helpful for those of you interested in that space. This is kind of like a midweek check-in. We'll start with S&P. Again, our touch point chart is SPX. You can see I put in some levels and some trend lines that I think have been on the chart now for a little bit. We had a nice rally today, nice constructive session. Actually opened higher on Monday, which, we haven't seen that for the last few weeks. Good to see a gap up on Monday. As you can see, these three bars are what we've put in this week. And we're right about at the highs of Monday in terms of where we closed today, which is roughly right at that 20-day moving average. Again, our concern has been to the downside with regard to the 200-day. We've stayed pretty resilient. I think at this point, starting to feel like there might be some follow through to the upside. So again, 29.55 here is kind of our short-term level that we're watching. If we can break that, maybe we can get above 3,000. Again, the psychological kind of price level is 3,000 on SPX. We'll see where we go. But again, it's, things have kind of calmed a little bit with regard to China trade and the tariffs coming off. We did see something interesting today, actually, at the end of the session. We saw another inversion of the 10-year once again. In fact, we can just jump down to that chart. Again, fairly uncommon to see this. As you can see, we didn't close. It's very important to notice this. We didn't close. I could probably add the twos in here as well. We didn't close inverted. That's the key component here. And let's see if it can just overlay, get a twos and tens here, kind of. What is that? 156.7. So yeah, I mean we're 2 basis points above zero. So we didn't close in the negative. So not unlike what we talked about last Wednesday. Now the interesting thing is last Wednesday when that happened, it happened pre-market ahead of open. And the equity sold off. We saw a pretty brutal sell-off, and everybody was citing that as a recessionary indicator. And today we saw it, and we really didn't see much action at all as a result. I mean, we closed pretty strong. Equity futures right now, we could look at, I believe this is the Dow Jones E-mini futures. I mean, we're slightly lower, but nothing crazy. I mean, so to me, it's interesting that we're not seeing that kind of a reaction for that fleeting moment where we're seeing an inversion, as we did last Wednesday, that led off that brutal sell-off, and now we're not seeing it quite as much. But so that's what's going on with regard to SPX, and I just, I wanted to touch on the inversion because I thought that was an interesting component. We have seen some strong consumer data from late last week. We saw strong earnings from Walmart as well. Retail seems to have done very well. In fact, Target hit new all-time highs today. In fact, I watched Target. Look at this gap up. How insane is that gap on a massive earnings beat? New all-time highs, trading over $100. Pretty wild what you see right here with regard to Target. So strong session for Target. That's a one-day chart. The other thing that I did want to touch on tonight, really kind of the reason I wanted to bring in the video, was actually Zen. So we talked about this setup, I think about 2 weeks ago or close to it, where I made the call, as you guys remember, when I circled that 200-day, when we first breached it and kind of traded below it and touched off. Then we had some market noise. Remember, we did have the yield curve inversion. We did have the tariff threat. We had the tariff threat come off. And, there's been a lot of market noise in here, but we're right back on schedule. You can see where we're at based on the trajectory. We're getting right back. We traded up as high as that 20-day moving average right here. And the Zen setup is just a beautiful thing, right? So we had talked about it, particularly for newer traders that are looking for a high probability setup. This is your trade. This is a good way to get your feet wet. You can see my trend line in here that's going way back into November 2018 from these lows. $95 is the price target, folks. Hopefully you got in here around here at 75 where we first called it. We're up here after hours. We're actually up here around 81.80. So we're actually like right here after hours. 81.80. And this closed here at about 80.23. So saw some nice action after hours based on some of the earnings, and not only in the cloud space, which is what these guys are, but I think these guys were actually highlighted on Jim Cramer's show, Mad Money. And anytime that happens, sometimes you'll see some after hours action. And this is a stock might gap up tomorrow. But love the setup, love the trade. We're going to keep an eye on Zen and see this thing through, just like we've done with others, like Roku. We've done it with Thermo Fisher. We've done it with Twilio, etc. So anyway, that's it. We'll catch up again. Traveling the rest of the week, so probably catch up over the weekend again. But hey, awesome to catch up. Happy trading, and hit me up in the comments if you got any questions or you want me to hit any specific names. Catch up soon. Take care.